Why's mine straight away gone into a nice split screen?
I know.
We didn't even have to do any setting up.
Alright, my camera.
We're in.
There we go.
Okay.
That's a bit better. I thought I'd let Professor Plum have a go because I'm a complete novice at lives. I've done about 3, so.
You must have done it before then. It's already pretty set up.
That's it, guys. That's it. Welcome. How are you, Professor Plum?
I'm not too bad. I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, enjoying the good weather over here.
Whereabouts are you in the world?
Oh, I live in Croatia now.
Oh, very nice. Well, we're getting a little bit of sun.
Oh yeah.
Not today.
Not today.
It's all right. Not my way. It's nice and sunny.
You're a bit further south than me, though, aren't you?
Oh yeah, true.
What have you been plumbing today?
I have been.
Yeah.
What was I doing? Did an immersion heater. What was I doing this morning? Oh, so I went out for a job this morning and their internal stop tap wouldn't turn off. She was going to have a go at replacing her own bath taps. I was like, oh, okay. But I failed at the first hurdle. I can't get the stop tap off. And it was like old 22 mil, well, big, whatever it was, 3/4 stop tap. Seized the buggery. But, bless her, she'd sprayed loads of WD-40 around it. So I've got some Stilsons on it. Managed to get it off enough. Just put in a lever valve and then turn it back on. So, yeah, it was. I did that, and then the bath taps were good fun as well because it was the bath panel was all tiled, and I was trying to gently get that back off. But yeah,
Worst bath tap I've ever done. Somebody had fitted a freestanding bath as like a normal bath, and they tiled it in. So obviously, there's no way I'd have got to the taps without actually smashing an outlet wall. So it had a bit of a lip on it. So I suggested to the customer that we cut the panel sort of thing at both sides and basically cut the front out so I could access it a little bit. Did that, but the taps then were in another box at the back. So then I'm laid on all fours, on my side, trying to cut down this other box to get to taps eventually. But it was either that or I took bricks out of an outside wall. So
can you guys see the comments as well? Just make sure.
We can.
Yeah.
Very good. I agree with Daisy. I saw the wine and I thought, that's classy. I might see if I've got some.
You get some out, you know, the
I
wine
might not
drinking.
by doing it. I can at least make it look like I'm fancy.
I might have to
Put it in the wine glass.
Yeah. How are we going to structure this then? If we have a question, for instance, shall we go round in a circle? Because it's maybe going to be a bit insane if we all try and answer it at the same time. Or
yeah. I think that sounds good. Hopefully we get some decent questions.
Oh, I've got wine. I've got rosé though.
Oh yes. I just used.
I've got nothing. I've actually given up drinking though at the minute. Which is
You're not drinking?
a little bit, just for a little while. Just while it just makes me really lazy. So when I get in from work, I've got all sorts to do. So just while I'm building, obviously trade up and everything, I'm just having a bit of a break from it.
Mate, the brothers up here are mental. Like they're just drinking all day while working, and then they drive home. It's nuts. And when I'm like in my garden or something, they're always shouting me over, "Come for beer, come for beer." I'm like, oh, wow.
Have you made some good friends then since you've moved over?
Yeah, I met some decent friends, some pretty cool people. They're all like older and stuff, but a few younger people. But yeah, I met some good people, decent people.
Whereabouts did you come from, Asia?
Have you heard of Zadar?
Zadar, yes, there's an airport there, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. There's an airport nearby. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's not so busy, and it's a nice looking city, so it's all good.
Somewhere I'd like to go again, definitely. I went once. I went to a festival. I went to Hideout Festival a few years ago. I think that were in Novalja.
Novalja, what's that?
It was on. There were no airport nearby because it was about a 6-hour coach ride. It was. Is it like a separate island just off Croatia where you can only access it by a bridge?
There's so many islands, so it's yeah. I couldn't tell you. Are you sure it's not Hvar or Brač or I can't think of any other party islands? I don't know.
I may be wrong. But I'm getting jealous now of your wine, so I'm on coffee.
I got some jobs like through in a hotel over here, and basically someone had fitted to a brand new hotel like 5 urinals with no traps. And have you guys ever done urinals before?
Yes, the trough or the.
I haven't actually done a urinal in my whole plumbing life, and then all of a sudden he's just like, "Yeah, I need you to take these off," and I'm like, "Okay." So you just kind of like stay confident and just do it. But it's a piece of piss to get them off anyway. Like 2 screws on the sides and pull it off basically. But yeah, just have to fit like a trap to all of them.
So they bit like one of them like half pedestals that they have sort of like floating under a basin. Is it like that sort of thing then?
It's like it's completely concealed pretty much. So yeah, you literally have to pull it off, and then like when you put it on, you've got to like fit the trap on, like circle your hand around the back, and then stick the inlet into it as well at the same time. So yeah, first time doing it, and I was like, when pulling it off, because I didn't take the water off, I was just like, I wonder if shouldn't be any water coming out of this. But yeah, it was
Systemizer still on.
yeah. I just tape it up, and then it's not going to spray water at you, is it? But once I forgot to do it, and then yeah, I had a nasty surprise.
I got asked to do them at the local pub, and I just made up every excuse not to do it. Fuck that.
Yeah, no. If they're not brand new, I would hate to do it. Honestly, I've done like the pipe work before, where it's been completely blocked with like old urine, and it's not good. Good.
I did one, and literally, it has to be the worst smell I've ever.
I think it is, yeah.
It's horrendous. I think in plumbing, that's got to be up there as the worst. Although anything, it's the same sort of smell as that washing machine sort of smell. Anything to do with washing machines is always rank because that's all body salt and nasties.
I'll tell you what's worse, actually. You know, when you go into those people's houses that have like pets that piss everywhere and do their business everywhere, and you go in and you just know that smell. Yeah. That is like the worst smell ever. Usually like some hoarder that never cleans.
I did council work for like 7 years and it was horrendous. We used to get some horrendous ones. But yeah, I've done a really lovely, amazing place. But like farmhouses, going up in lofts in farmhouses, they can be rank. It's usually bats and rats, but that's more them just being there than the smell.
I bet that's some scary times when you're trying to walk across like the joists in the loft, and then there's bats flying about. The feet coming through the ceiling come quite often.
Yeah, they never fly about, but they're just hanging there, and you always think eventually it's going to go and it's going to fly off or something. They don't. They just. It's like they're like hibernating. It's where they like you can't really disturb bats.
No.
Yeah, it's weird. But like, I put my hand right next to her, like holding a joist as I'm like leaning over, and then seeing that it's next to my hand. And it's like. I uploaded one on TikTok that was it's months ago, but that was a big farmhouse, and there was bats in the F&E tank, where they dropped down or died and fell in there, and there was literally you could see like a little bat with its little wings open, like right at the bottom of the F&E tank.
Those photos you always used to see it when you were doing your training, and they always used to have a photo of a rat in a tank and said, "This is why you fit a lid."
How dirty has an F&E tank got to be for you to stick your hand in? Like, not stick your hand in.
To be honest, I'll commit to anything. I feel like work just makes me switch off to like anything that's bad. It's just makes me completely switch off. I can just power through it. But
I'm one of people. I just deal with it at the time, and it's like, look, I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid for this. I remember someone having a really bad smell from their hot tap in their basin. It was gravity fed. And went up there, and there was a dead pigeon, and it had maggots. It was like just floating on the top, and maggots like burst out of its chest. It was like. Oh yeah, just get in a bag and just trying to scoop it up. It's like just nothing. I'm just zoning out, just in a different world.
It would have been like gone up there and been like, it's nothing, mate. Don't worry about it.
It'll sort itself out.
It'll be fucking fine.
Actually, that's reminded me of one of the weirdest jobs where it was a bad smell from the cold tap on, and it was mains, right? So it was a mains cold tap on a basin, and it was just a basin. Shower was fine. Toilet, you lifted the lid, nothing. But the basin, you run the cold tap and it absolutely stunk. Right? You got any idea what it could be?
I've never known a stinky tap before. I've never had that.
Something in the pipe. It's got to be. Stuck before a filter or something like that.
Dead mouse with maggots in it.
No, it was mains water. So it's clean mains water coming through.
Is it sulfur?
No. So what they'd done, right? So the bathroom fitter was first fixing under the floor, run out of pipe, so he went into his scrap bag to get the pipe, just to do this last little section like this, about this big.
Yeah.
Now he used some old gas pipe.
No, yeah.
What the smell was. So that smell that they put in the gas, I can't remember what it's called now, but that was going into the water and coming out through the taps, and it stunk.
Joking me.
I'm surprised that transferred, but obviously it must have been a very old gas pipe.
It must have been, yeah. But Just didn't want to go to the merchants. It must have been a Friday job at like 4 o'clock, and went, fuck it, I got some scrap. But yeah,
Just on that copper scrounge though, aren't we, man? But I did today. I'm pulling out little bits of copper like this, just thinking, how can I make this work? But no, back to hoarders. My worst one was when I was an apprentice, and we did this job, and it was that bad. She had a dog, but it didn't help that it were blind as well. But the dog, if you met the dog on like a pathway through a house, it had to walk backwards because it couldn't turn around. There weren't enough room either side. So, and then I was doing boiler in City. It was actually in cellar. And I found these Budweisers, and I thought that box looks a bit old. And sell by date were 1996, which happened to be the year I was born. And she said, "Oh, you want them, love?" I said, "I'm all right."
Oh man, that's wrong. One time I had some guy that literally, he couldn't control his bowels, so he was like pooing everywhere, literally on the floor. So you had to like watch it. And then like he like collected every newspaper going, so there's stacks everywhere. And you know when you go to like a nightclub and your feet stick to the floor, it was literally like that. I was just like, oh my god, this is like, why am I working here? Like, why am I committed to this? But yeah, man, there's some pretty disgusting houses that you have to work in sometimes. I don't know why you choose to actually.
The worst two I've ever heard of, but I thank God it wasn't me that had to go in. So these were council jobs. There's always stories of horrendous things. There was one where a guy had a bath that wasn't earthed, and they were the old tin baths. And he got electrocuted from the shower, and it carried on running. He had no close relatives, and he melted to the bath. So when the coroner had to remove the bath to get him out or something, or had to scrape him off, that was one of the worst ones. They said the smell was horrendous. Like it was just fucking burnt flesh. No. And then there was one where yearly, this was on the council, yearly, a team used to have to go around and clear out his bath, where he used to shit in ice cream tubs and then stack them up in his bath. He had a toilet and it worked perfectly fine, but he had this thing about shitting in ice cream tubs. It was always like, and you'd get a £500 bonus for doing that job as well. And I was like, that's not enough.
No, not at all. The thing, I don't think anything can prepare you for actually what you see when you start doing this job. It's crazy, isn't it?
I love how like we have like an intention of doing serious conversation, and it always comes around to like talking about excrement.
Well, I think that's just what we do.
What's the most embarrassed you've ever been on a job?
I've got a pretty embarrassing story, to be fair. Like one that shocks me pretty bad. I went for like a bathroom quote once, and the guy opened the door and he had like his top off, and I was like, bit weird, but like we're both men, so who cares? Like whatever, I'll go in. So I went to do the bathroom quote, and I was like, what were you planning to have? Like the whole bathroom doing, or just the sanitary? You were looking at doing the sanitary wear or something? And he was like, just the sanitary wear. And I was just like, right, okay. Anyway, I started measuring it up, and and he said, do you want a drink? And I was like, yeah, go on then. I'll have a squash if that's all right. Went to get a squash. I was measuring. He come back. He was like, here's your squash, mate. I turned around and he'd taken his trousers off, and he was just wearing like the tightest fucking like budgie smugglers known to man. He was like probably 60 years old, like hair everywhere. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, what's going on right now? Like, I was like a scared animal. Like, I thought I was going to get, so I took the drink off him because I was like scared. Like, I don't know. I was a bit shocked.
Did you drink it?
I did take a sip, and I was like, holy shit, what if this has got some kind of like rapey drug in it?
That's
like,
exactly what I would think.
If I don't get out of here like ASAP, I'm going to lose my anal virginity. So I was like, okay, I've got everything I need. And I like stormed out the house and just like got into the van, and I was shaking, and I rung my business partner and I was like, why did you send me to this house? You know what just happened, blah, 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 blah. I was like, I'm not going to the next job for a bit. I'm just going to stay in the van for a bit because I'm so shook. So I was thinking, are these drugs going to come and I'm going to like fucking pass out in the van while driving? I was like, mate, why does this have to happen to me? And like, I was thinking, who rings a plumber? Like, fair enough if you're gay, like go on some dating apps or whatever, but don't ring a plumber for fuck's sake. You know what I mean?
That might have been a fetish.
Yeah. I just wish my business partner went instead, because he's just like proper like, I don't know. It would have just been hilarious instead, but it happened to me, so there we go.
We've got a question anyway. So what's the biggest thing you learned over the years that you wish you knew sooner? Who wants to go first?
I think I never ever really knew about liquid PTFE. That's a game changer. That's helped a lot. But now I feel like there's a really good answer, but it's like it'll be something I learned from watching TikTok, basically. Well, that 100% be something from that.
Yeah, I've learned those, whether it be plumbing or business.
Yeah, I think the pencil on the PTFE to get it round threads if it's too tight, that's a pretty good one. But like I said, now with liquid PTFE, it's kind of like whatever.
I would say, like, not to do with like actual plumbing, but like in business, that like sometimes growing a business isn't the best thing to do. Like, unless you've got everything sorted out and your price is exactly right, you sometimes end up running it and don't realize that you're actually like just struggling to keep your head above the water. And, you know, some people may look successful from the outside, but from the inside, it's like a totally different story. So it's like that whole thing with me going into like a merchant one time and just thinking, seeing some like old chap buying some plumbing materials and thinking, fuck me, I don't want to be his age and still plumbing. Like, I'm going to grow a business. So when I did that, I didn't really think about anything about the business. I just thought about, I'm going to sit in this chair telling people what to do, and that's how it's going to be. But it's a completely different life, and you have to be ready to give your life to it if you're wanting to grow a business, because it's absolutely like non-stop. So,
yeah, definitely. I mean, mine would probably be a business related one as well, but it'd be more just sort of knowing your worth, really. And I feel like it's something that when you first start, you undersell yourself massively. You are worth more than that, because I think the problem is you come from employment most of the time. So I think when you leave employment, you're always comparing to how much you earn. So you just think, oh, I'll just add a bit more on. But you're not doing your full calculations for obviously your costings each month and taking everything into account before you come up with the price that you do need to charge. And for probably, I'd say, 2.5 years really, it took me to get my pricing right. And it's still always adapting because stuff changes, stuff goes up. Insurance my insurance went up massively as soon as I started taking on using quite a few subbies and stuff. Like, I think it's just like I say, it's just knowing your worth as a person is separate to your business. So that's why I brought out that spreadsheet as well, because basically you can put all your expenditure in, see how much you want to earn a day, and then it'll just calculate for you what you need to charge in order for your business to still make a profit.
absolutely.
Right, what's the best sealant for a shower tray?
Shower trays.
Yeah.
So not me.
Dow. It's got to be Dow. So Dow 785. Is it 785?
Yeah, 785. That's what I use.
Dow 785 to actually do the sealing, and everyone's saying CT1, but CT1 to stick it to the wall basically as a pre-seal. But actually on show you want to use Dow because it's antibacterial and it's silicone based, so it's got a bit more stretch in it. Doesn't CT1 go yellow? I don't know if it still does. They probably changed the formula. But...
Apparently they changed it because I went to see CT1 because I used CT1 in a job once, and every single part of it started turning yellow. And I contacted rep, didn't get anywhere. So like you do with most manufacturers, and then from there I was just like, I'm not using it. But I went to see the CT1 guy at one of these stands. I went to a James Hargreaves show, and I asked him, and they did say that it had changed. So I don't know.
Did you find it hard to express because it's not silicone based?
Yeah. I don't. It were more. I had a customer. It ends up being this customer. But I had a customer, and he just wanted best everything. So, like, I was thinking, I'll pay a fortune. And CT1 is nothing. I won't really use it before anyway because it was just expensive compared to Dow. But I just thought, you know what? He wants something a bit better. I'll put CT1 in, and then obviously it backfired. But
but Dow's not the cheapest by any means.
Oh,
it's still a premium silicone.
Yeah, it used to be a lot cheaper though. I think it last sort of year, it must have gone up by 30%. 40%. It has gone up.
Ridiculous. I'm paying like £10 a tube, just under £10 a tube.
Yeah. Some places more. What merchants is it you tend to use?
So I have one merchant for like at least 15-mile radius. So the only place you can use is either BPS, which is shite for plumbing, even though it's bathroom plumbing supplies, terrible, or there's a John Nichols plumbing merchant, which is what I use. So I just use John Nichols for everything.
Really?
I use City Plumbing for everything when I was doing it.
City. I do use City. I use James Hargreaves as well.
I'm just in the middle of nowhere. When I'm up at Stratford, I've got every available option. I could use Graham, Cities, Wosley, whatever.
Do you find he's still competitive even though he's the only one in area? Or
to be honest with you, they've only just been brought out. It was a complete independent merchant, but the girl who owned it is still the manager. So they've still got the mentality of we'll go above and beyond to help you. If you bring in something that's really specific, they'll still go out their way to help you find it. Whilst I think with a lot of the big chains, like you go into a Wozy and you go, I've got this weird toilet fit in, can you get that? And they'll be like, nah, try a website, mate. They ain't interested.
It's definitely branch dependent. That 100%. I've noticed the difference between branches. I guess it's because whether they know you and you build that relationship. But if I go into a branch that I'm not knowing, they'd not help me with anything. But like my local ones that I use all the time, they'll go above and beyond really to help me. And I think that says a lot for building a relationship with merchants that you do use.
Like how much you spend there as well. If you're spending loads of money, they're going to help you in every kind of way possible.
Definitely, they've helped me out loads over years, but most recently with a wet room shower tray that basically it came. I just said whatever were on that last ticket, forgetting that it weren't a tiled wet room floor. So it came and it were for a lino. So I was like, I'm panicking, thinking I need to get this done for when she gets back off holiday. And basically they drove. It's about 60 miles away to go and get me one, which were really good of them, really. So
yeah, I think it's stuff like if I say, look, I really need it by tomorrow, they'll send someone to go pick something up. Or I've asked for just the basin, not a basin and pedestal, and it's an old rocker one, and she's managed to find one that's the same shape to like replace one that's cracked without having to do all the tiling that's all around it, you know. So it's like super helpful.
I've got a message here. Yeah, it was ages since we did our level 3. Hi, Matt, by the way. Reading your comments. Yeah, college days was funny.
Who's going to the installer show? I know I am, but I doubt you're going.
yeah, I'll be there as well. Yeah, I'm going to take some bleed keys and stuff with me. So if anybody sees me, just give me a shout and I'll sort you out some bleed keys. Or I'm going to take some hats and stuff as well for people if they want them.
You're going to have your own stall?
No, it's not a stall. I'm just going to try and.
How much does it cost to get a stall there? Do you reckon?
About $3,000. Have a look. It's a lot at the moment. Anyway, it's not something I can warrant at the moment for it. Maybe next year.
It's useful to do though, actually.
Yeah, it would definitely be useful. I want the app to be usable and working, so they can sort of see what they're signing up for, really.
Yeah. Guys, if you've got any questions about anything, let us know in the comments. Anything plumbing, business related, or anything.
How do you go to the installer? Do you pay? You don't have to pay. You just got to sign up now. Make sure you sign up before the venue, because the venue's going to have a capacity. So you'll have to get signed up because it's only 4 weeks away now, or 3 weeks, 4 weeks away. So get signed up. It's free. I'll be there on the DPS stand, so I'll be there for the first day on the stand, and then the second day I'll just mill about for a bit and then go home. So and then there'll be I want to do a chance to win a couple of £100 worth of tools, but it'll only be for my followers basically, with a secret code which I'm gonna think of. I'll raffle it off, but I don't want it just to be any idiot. I want it to be like, you know what I mean?
Is the plumbing different up north because it's more of a soft water area? I suppose. I guess there's some areas that I'd fit water softeners, but there's nothing really too different. No, I want to say I haven't really plumbed anywhere else to compare it to either, so I won't be able to answer that question to the full. To my full capability if I knew plumbing in other areas. Only nearest I could say is obviously in Derby. We used to fit like I said, like a water softener on the inlet, but that's pretty much it.
See, I'm a hard water area, and it just means I probably do a bit more repair work, a bit more third up ball valves and stuff like that, maybe. Don't know, because I don't know how much different it is to being up north or a soft water area, you know.
No, I'm in a water area anyway. But I can't. The nearest to me, yeah, I can't even think, to be honest. But, are you guys into renewables yet?
I actually just did not long ago a solar hot water for the first time, because they use a lot of solar here in Croatia, and I did want to do some air source, but the Croatian company over here has kind of aired me a little bit, so unfortunately I haven't got to dip my toes into that yet. But it would be good to learn. In England, I never really touched on it just because everyone's using gas boilers. What's the point? And I don't think the houses are insulated enough and stuff like that, and you don't get enough sun. I don't know. I don't know if it's that much worth it right now in England anyway.
I think there's a long way to go. I think it's going to be very difficult for them to retrofit any heat pumps and that kind of thing, just because, like you said, the insulation's not there. For me, the most feasible option is hydrogen. just because they can use their they need to upgrade the existing gas pipework. And then obviously each individual house will have to check that there's no drop on gas, literally none, there'll not be a tolerance anymore. And then obviously gas valves will have to be changed. But they are trialling it this year in a little town in Whitby. There's 1,000 houses that they're changing them to 100% hydrogen. And then obviously if that goes well, they'll do it. In my opinion, I just think they're keeping it quiet because it's not a current solution. So I think they're being pushed that much to produce zero carbon and push this zero carbon sort of agenda really. But there's not really a viable solution yet. The nearest to it are these heat pumps. But I don't know whether it's the same where you are. There's a lot of work going on with new gas mains and stuff. And I think it's just basically getting it ready to roll out the hydrogen side. It is just my opinion and speculation, but that's how I think it's going to go.
So I did a little bit of solar thermal in Britain, but that was more the maintenance side of it. Now, a housing association, they got some grants to do obviously renewables, and one of the things they trialled was they did a couple of houses in solar thermal, and because of the cloud coverage, obviously in Britain it just doesn't really work. Number two, the only time it does really work in the summer is when you don't want it to work, and you can't turn the radiators down, so off completely, so you've still got warmth, and then in the summer it was unbearable, and then in the winter it just wasn't hot enough. So solar's great for electric, but solar thermal in the UK, shite. I did a lot of air source, but that we're talking pre-2013 when I was doing it. That was the last time I did one. So when I was doing it, the only things that were on the market were these great big Mitsubishi things, and now obviously it's advanced and it's come on a long way. I think if you're going to go for any renewable energies, you're going to have to go for like ground source, but the outlay and the cost of it is massive. With air source, obviously you've got the problem of you've got a massive box, and if you haven't got somewhere that you can hide it down the bottom of the garden, then it's a big cumbersome thing that does make a bit of noise. So, but as time goes on, they'll upgrade and things will probably get better in that field.
Any good places for apprenticeships? I'd say personally, I think the best way to do e-training, this is just from my experience really, is doing it through a smaller business, so like a one-man band. So I'd say maybe go to local merchants, obviously put something out like I'm looking for an apprenticeship. There's always people going in there all the time, plumbers. Everybody uses the merchant, so you may get a couple of offers. Also look online for businesses local to you. Just give them a call, see if they're looking to take on. I mean, I think that personally that'd be the way I'd go about it if I were to do it again. And then anybody you know, that's it. So your mum's, I don't know, your mum's uncle's dad's cousin might be a plumber. try and go down that route.
So the two places I think are really good like places you can go and get an apprenticeship. There's someone who usually comes in my lives and says, try the NHS, and a couple of the lads who've been in my lives when he said it have signed up, and they've actually got two lads who've got apprenticeships through the NHS, because the NHS is looking for plumbers to do all around the hospitals, and obviously it's a slightly different ball game because you're worrying more about air gaps and all that sort of stuff, and it's a bit more commercial. And then the other thing I'd say, try housing associations and councils and that, because they're always looking for, especially if you're a girl, because they love a bit of diversity on the council, so it's worth giving them a try.
I also think that go on Facebook groups like Gas Chat, Plum Chat. There's a lot of plumbers and stuff on there. If you just join in and just make a post saying, I'm an apprentice, looking for an apprenticeship in such and such area, that might work too. Also ringing around companies, just go on Google, search for plumbers or whatever in your town. It'll come up with a list. Email them. I mean, phone call would be the best, but if you're feeling a bit too shy, you can always email them just to see if they're interested in an apprenticeship. And that's the best way. Just ask, Hey, yeah. There's a phrase that I like to. There's no such thing as $1 million idea, just $1 million execution. And I like that because it means that you might have a great idea, but unless you take action and actually pick up the phone and start calling, you ain't going to get what you want. So go out there, get what you want. Inspiration.
It is so true though. You need to be a doer rather than I want to or.
Yeah, you need to be proactive. Do you get asked often if you got any jobs going through TikTok?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I've had a few comments, to be honest. Quite a few comments. To be honest, there's about 3 people I know at the minute that have asked me for an apprenticeship, but it's tough when they first start. It's really tough. I think it depends on the individual, but sometimes it's, especially when they're a little bit younger, I feel like mistakes are very reoccurring. Simple stuff rather than the technical stuff.
I probably had. I think I've had 5 people actually, because I always say yes. I'm always like, yeah, you can come with me for a day.
Yeah.
And then I see whether or not they actually go, oh, okay, yes. Now, I've had 5 people, and I've had one guy come all the way up from Heathrow, and I'm bearing in mind I live in Warwickshire, so Midlands. I had a guy come up from Heathrow. I had a girl about 3 weeks ago come up from Southampton. And then I had my last apprentice, Jamie, was through TikTok, and then the apprentice that I had before that, Brandon, was through TikTok as well. So I've had loads of people come on through just inboxing me.
As if they travelled that far. Like, how in their heads did they think it was going to work out if they had to travel?
It was just to get experience, to at least say when they're looking for a job, I've had some experience.
That's good. That's good.
I worked with a famous plumber. Professor Plum. Hey guys, it was for clout all along.
They needed you need a badge to say that I work with Professor Plum.
That's a flex, isn't it? Did they get a t-shirt?
Do you know what I've got downstairs? This is no joke. I got them delivered, but unfortunately I parted ways with my last apprentice. But I got some badges made up, prospect and president for the hoodies, like a biker gang. So, but they never got used. So I still got my patches downstairs. So I need a prospect.
Ready. Hear that, guys? Professor Plum's waiting for the right apprentice.
It's like a dating show.
It's like Plumber Tinder.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've the last 10 or so people that have asked me, they're always from London. It's like, well, you can't even tell by my accent. I'm clearly not from London, am I? I'm not from the big city. Anyway, what questions have we missed?
Is the Nerad Tapex kit worth the money, and how much roughly have you spent on tools in total? I haven't personally got the Nerad Tapex kit, so I can't comment on that. Amount I spent on tools, that is a very tough question. Since I started, it's impossible to tell really, I think. I don't know, maybe 8,000-9,000 I'd have thought, over sort of 10 years.
I've just started again here in Croatia, and I spent about 3 to 4 grand on tools, and I think that's enough for like a good set to start with for everything you need it for, really. But previously, loads, tens of thousands, especially when they getting robbed all the time as well. It doesn't help.
Yeah, I saw your video the other day on that actually. I've been, touch wood, I've been lucky enough to never. Oh, I say that. I once had a Cirque saw nicked from just outside a house, but that's the worst I've had. I've never had my full van robbed.
The worst one I had was like, I parked at my business partner's house and it got robbed. So then we refreshed everything, and I said, let's park it on my drive, it'll be safer. And it just so happened to be the next target they were targeting, and they fucking stole everything again. And I was like, oh my God, just lost like 2 lots of tools in like 2 nights out of the same van. I felt like jacking it in just then, honestly.
I bet.
To be honest with you, to answer the question, my hand tools cost as much as my power tools now, probably. So I always go for really high end hand tools, and then my power tools. I'm wondering how much I've spent, but I don't have anywhere near as many as I did before I got my van robbed. So when I got mine done, it worked out to roughly £12,000. So that was, and someone was like, wow, £12,000. Well, I was a bathroom fitter. So I had a chop saw, I had a planer, I had an inspection camera. So I'm just trying to think of all the things I don't have now. So I don't have a jigsaw now. I don't have a lot of stuff, you know. And I think the biggest expense was the core drill. So a Milwaukee core drill at the time that I brought was nearly £1,000 on its own. But when I got my van broken into, so this was the situation for me. So the situation I was in was I'd just gone from being employed to being a self-employed subcontractor, right? So I started work, and I was only working there for about maybe 2 weeks. I was on double the money, absolutely fantastic from being employed. And then when I had the van broken into, I've lost £12,000. The new company that I'm on are going, well, you're not really a plumber without plumbing tools. And I was literally carrying in plasterboard and just being a labourer for a few weeks until I could scrape enough to get, you know, a cheap set of tools just to get me back in the game. Because things like just buying blowtorch and a new spanner, new grips, new this, new that, it adds up super quick.
Yeah, I underestimated, to be honest, thinking about it.
Now, my partner at the time was pregnant. So my little one's mum we found out she was pregnant, and we was worrying about, and it was my first child. I'm worrying about, it's a lot of expense, a lot of cost. When I went down and then my van was broken into, I just lost it. I think that's probably one of the I don't cry very often, but I was so enraged. I was just screaming "cunt" at the top of my voice. And I just burst into tears. I'd lost everything. I had all this stress of, I've got a child on the way, I've just started this new job. It's horrendous. And the thing is, when no one understands what your tools mean to you, until you lose them yourself, you don't even realise how much they mean to you until you lose them. And other people never sympathise with you.
No.
They never fully sympathise with you. Oh, well, wow, you should have locked him up. You should have got this. You should have got that. You should have got your... There's no sympathy. You never get any sympathy. Yeah. Not only that, but we're blokes. We're not allowed sympathy. You know what I mean? It's like, just get over it. That's my livelihood. Just been taken from me.
Yeah.
The betrayal from the police that they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, the absolute betrayal. And someone has come along and it's like where people say about, like, when they've had their home broken into. You'll never be the same again. You've had your possessions stolen from under you. It's horrendous.
The anxiety in bed when you just hear a little noise and you run outside to, like, look out the window to see if, like, your van's all right. Like, has anyone done that before?
100%. I've done that before. I've run out of the house with a cricket bat thinking, so I swore someone was. I was like, that's my van. And nothing. You know, it's just probably a cat run over the van, but it's just awful.
It feels like it's not something that's just like, it's almost like, when will it happen rather than if it will happen. It's I don't know, it seems so rife in the UK now, and the problem is with the police, like you say, they give you a crime number and say, oh yeah, deal with the insurance, but because of this and zero consequence to the people that are stealing from vans, they're just doing it because they don't even get their hand, like, slapped. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's almost like, all right, I can go around robbing people's shit and nothing happens. It was in broad daylight once as well. I was at a tiling fucking course. In broad daylight, they parked up next to our van on CCTV. And because they couldn't literally see the transaction of taking the tools out of the van and putting it in the car, right? Because they parked next to us and the CCTV didn't see them physically take the tools out and put it in their car, they couldn't do anything about it. And I was like, what the actual fuck? You've got everything there you need, like the car's number plate and everything. And they won't do anything. It's insane.
Yeah.
And this is the worst bit of that, is that I went on Facebook and I saw my tools at a car boot sale being seized by the police. I'm thinking, they've got them. They've got the fuckers, right? Now, the police would not give me my tools back because I couldn't provide them with the serial numbers. Now, if you ever owned a Milwaukee power tool, they don't have serial numbers, by the way. They just have a part number. So it's generic. There's no serial number. And I knew they was my tools because they all had gold spray paint all over them. Oh yeah, they've got gold spray paint on them, but you're going to have to show us proof of purchase. How can? All right, I'll try and give you proof of purchase, but you need the serial numbers to match. So I said, so what are you going to do with my tools? You're the police. You're working for me. I'm a citizen. You've retrieved my stolen goods. Can I have? What are you doing with them if I can't have them back? We're going to auction them off. We can tell you where they're being auctioned off.
That's crazy.
That's horrendous.
Fucking hell.
And you know what? So obviously they've seized those goods. Now, obviously, give them a little slap on the wrist. Naughty, naughty. Some of these could be stolen, possibly, if we can prove it. Now, I don't know what happened to them, but I certainly wasn't dragged into a courtroom to give my statement.
No.
No one wanted to know. No one cares. They got a slap on the wrist, and that was that. Honestly, it boils my blood because it's just awful. Everyone, if you live in the UK, you need to get alarms, you need to get deadlocks, and you need to get yourselves tool storage if you can, if you can and it fits, whatever. Bring it in your house, stick it in your garage. If it's in your coal shed on the side of your house, or even in your shed, it's breaking and entry.
Yeah, so they've got.
If they get caught, that's not just a little fine. But why is it different in my van?
Yeah. I did have like alarms and I had deadlocks. But the thing is, right, is that I found out the more security you put on your car, the more damage they'll do to it. Like, the more security you put on your van, the more damage they'll do to get into it. Because it's not just a little bust the lock with a flatted screwdriver and just pop it out and then unlock the car. It's, no, let's bend the fucker out with a crowbar, deactivate your alarm somehow, and fucking God knows what,
I do think it's a way as well, obviously. There's certain things, I think, on vans especially with like sign written vans, especially they look for plumbers vans and tradesman vans. I think the most, if you can make your van incognito, the better, to be honest, in terms of tool theft.
It's true. It's true.
Have a magnetic sign written van, so you take your magnet off at night.
So when I first started up self-employed, I had a little Vauxhall Combo. Now, I used to see it in my old videos. That was the little van I had. And I had magnetic signs, you know, and I put them on during the day. Now at night, obviously I've got rid of that van now, I've actually got my van sign written. I used to have magnetic signs that said florist. And they went on at night, and that was genuine. And I never worried about my van then.
So they won't bother, would they? They
no. I never spoke about it because I was always like, you know, obviously I don't want to put it out on social media. But I used to take that magnetic sign off, and I used to throw on florist, and I used to think, yeah, no one's breaking into that.
Yeah, so true. They won't break up magic. There is some expensive flowers these days.
Mate, it's what I love about being here in Croatia is that it feels super safe. Honestly, when I go to the town, right, people leave their car running with the door open, run into like the bakery to get some like stuff, and no one touches the car. People like leave the table with the car keys on it, and no one takes it or anything. And it's like, fucking hell, like you can just leave your door open, you can leave your van, and just know that no one's going to jack anything. It's like it's just another life. Where in England, if you ever left your car or van running, someone would probably jump.
Yeah, 100%. I had a story actually about a friend of mine. He when I think we were delivering pizzas basically, and he didn't have business insurance, so he was just doing it on side. And basically, he left his car running, ran and delivered the pizza. Somebody jumped in, took it. So he rang police. Obviously, said my car's been stolen. Gave insurance crime number, and because in the original report it said that he was delivering pizzas, it wasn't covered by insurance. So for years after, he's paying for a car that he didn't even have.
Oh my god.
I think he's only just actually paid it off because it was quite a dear car.
I must admit, I am very lucky to live here because there is no real crime ever happens around here. It's so sort of like countryside. But when the vans get broken into, it's a month-long period every year. As soon as you hear of one getting done, you'll hear of dozens getting done, and it'll all happen in a short window of time. So it's like, you know, people travel in and do it, then fuck off and leave and go to the next town or whatever.
Yeah.
It's always 1 month every year. Always happens.
From Liverpool.
From anywhere, it could be anywhere.
How do you guys stay motivated when you have bad days?
To be honest with you, my motivation's always like my kid. It's always somewhere in my motivation. So I've never lost motivation, to be honest with you.
I think the one thing is when you come home and you've slept on it, just go back into it next day with a fresh mind. Like no matter how bad a day you've had, I think if you can use sleep as sort of a reset, really, just take that next day as a completely new day, and I think that it's a good way to stay motivated, 100%.
I agree with what you're saying there, because like I've had it so many times where you maybe have one job that fucks up, and then the thing is like to change your mindset at that point, because at that point you're late for the next job, so then you're worrying about that, and you're getting more anxious and you're getting more stressed out, and then you make more problems. So just try and take a deep breath and try and stay as calm as possible. And what you'll probably find is that throughout the day, things will level themselves out. You'll catch up with your work, and then the day will start getting better. Whereas if you're in the mindset of going on a mad stress and going mental and being angry at yourself, throwing spanners around and stuff, then the rest of your day is going to continue in that fashion and be shit the whole time. But yeah, as soon as you have your sleep, next day comes and it's probably, you know, everything goes really well. So ups and downs are normal. You're just going to ride the storm. No one has 100% good days all the time. It's always mixed. You know, even the best plumbers make mistakes. I don't believe that anyone doesn't make mistakes, and everyone still is learning, I believe.
Oh, yeah. I think if you're closed-minded to think that you can't learn anymore, I think that's when you start going backwards.
I think, to be honest with you, just thinking on it, it's like because we're self-employed, if there's aspects of the job that we don't like, we can get rid of them in the future. So, for example, I went to a job and it was a floating toilet. And I couldn't fucking do it. It's just everything. I just had to walk away. I was like, oh, fuck, this thing's just not working. Same with macerators. Like there's two things that I just won't do. I won't go near a macerator. They call it for about macerator. I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry, I don't do macerators. Yeah, I'll call someone else. So there are things that you can take off your repertoire in a way, can't you? If you really want to.
I mean, I've never said no. I've just charged more. Obviously, I'm just trying to price myself out of the job, really.
No, I was talking to the Tyler on the job that I've been doing this week. He got out there and he said, "Ugh, I really didn't want to be here." And I was like, "Oh, why?" And I thought, "Oh, it's a lovely little job." He was like, I don't like ripping off tiles. I like to just go in once it's actually plastered and tile or whatever. It's like, and these tiles, he's knocking them off and they were just falling off. It was like a freshly plastered wall behind, right? And he went, "Gosh, this is bloody perfect." He said, and yet I literally put in a massive quote because I didn't want the job, and then I got it. Is it now that's happened to me once or twice before? Does it happen to you guys where you put in a bigger quote because you don't want the job and then got it?
Yeah, you get it. I usually don't like a job because if the customer is someone I don't like, and I know they're going to be a pain in the ass, where they're going to be watching you, or just like you just have these spider sense about certain customers, and I'm just like, no, I don't want to work for you. But unfortunately, as running a business and having a business partner as well, he'd always like just book whatever in, and usually I'd get all the hard jobs to go to, and it'd sometimes be with the worst customers as well, which I just can't hack. But yeah, if there's a job that you really don't like, I would say just it's not worth doing it. Just stick to the things that you do like and perfect them. Obviously, at the start when you're plumbing, you just got to take anything on it to get your work up and running. But
I think that's useful as well to find out what you do like doing.
Definitely got to try everything.
100%.
My first bathroom, I fucked up, and after that, I was like, I'm not doing bathrooms again. I'm sticking to heating.
I've got a massive love-hate relationship with bathrooms. Sometimes I'm like, I can't wait to do a bathroom, and then other times I've just done about 4 in a row recently, and I'm just sick. Just ready for just something different now. So
I did a job once where we had overpriced it massively because it was Polyyork. You ever worked with Polyyork?
a couple of times. But yeah.
Horrendous stuff, isn't it?
No, I don't know.
Like plastic glued cold pipe or water pipe, basically.
That's some kind of like American stuff that you always see on American TikTok.
No. So basically, what Polyyork is in the 70s there was a copper shortage, and they used it in the 70s for a very short period, only a few months. So it's rare. It's very rare to see, and to get proper Polyyork fittings and converters is stupidly hard to find. They're very, very hard to find, and so because it wasn't barrier pipe. When the water flowed through, it was washing the oil away. So when you go to work on it now, 40, 50 years later, it is as brittle as a fluorescent tube at times. And so when you cut it, sometimes it can split down the pipework. Right. So it's horrendous stuff. And so it was a nursing home, and they had Polyyork throughout, and they wanted shore stops putting in because it was an old folks home. And so we had to cut it in. So just 2 converters, bit of copper, and a shore stop. And we were like, it's Polyyork, fuck that. Fuck that. No, don't want to touch it. £500 a stop tap. They said yes. 38 units. 38.
Wow.
They said yes. Right? So we're like, fuck.
We've got no capital.
So we spent a whole day. We went all the way down to Portsmouth, and we went all the way up to Leeds to try and find Polyyork fittings or converters. Couldn't find any. The one fucking place we found them was a little town that's about 10 miles down the road called Banbury. And it was where we was working at the time on our big project. So we were like, for fuck's sake. It was a place called Banbury Heating Supplies. And basically these fittings, you slide them over and they're glued, and then they got threads so that you can put a copper to iron and then go to copper. So just like a female piece of brass. So we found those. And the glue that you have to use it smells like nappies. It's like for pools and saunas, and the pipe doesn't have to be dry. It works even if it's wet. And for every minute that you leave it to cure, it will hold a bar. So you just left it for 10 minutes and you're fine. We got there and we done the whole job in a week, and that was taking a piss. We slowed down to make it last a week, and that was the biggest payday that I've ever had. So we did that week, and then for the other 3 weeks of the month, we used to get paid monthly. The other 3 weeks, we carried on our project over in Banbury. So at the end of the month, I got this paycheck. I got the money in my bank. I went straight down the travel agents, 5-star hotel. See you later. I'm going to Turkey, lads. You know what I mean? Brilliant.
Well, I can't imagine the feeling, to be honest, when they said yeah to that.
Yeah, it's one of them, and yeah, it unexpectedly. I'm going to put the camera to one side because I'm going to be smoking, and it will kick us off if yeah. But we're not allowed to. It's naughty, you see.
You can't smoke on live.
All sorts, I think. Yeah, you got banned, didn't you?
Breathe air.
Last week.
Yeah, well, last yeah, I got banned, but they said it was for hate speech, and I've got no idea what the hell I said. It's so pathetic.
Hey, the podcast host is here.
Aha. Who's the most handsome? TikTok. Are you still TikTok plumber?
I am, yeah, but yeah.
So we've got TikTok plumber and TikTok tradesman.
I know, yeah. Do you know when I first came across you? I'm like, has he copied my name?
Mate, I was thinking the same. I was like, this guy definitely copied my name.
I heard you're one of the OGs though. You was one of the first on the app, was you?
I don't know. Maybe I was. My content is slipping at the minute though. Really slipping.
It's hard. Sometimes it's just hard to get motivated, isn't it?
So from what I heard, did you used to have another account?
Yeah, so first of all, I had like under my other company called Plum Gas, and I got that to like near 10k, and then I made another one, and then started growing that. So then, yeah, but then after I like sold up my shares on my business, like it kind of went downhill because I wasn't doing plumbing anymore. It was like, what do I make content about anymore? You know. And then being in this whole kind of place I'm in now, it's sort of like you're trying to figure out who you are again in a way.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. I'm like, yeah, a bit all over the place, if I'm honest. So there you go. That's it.
It is. It's an hard place to be. I feel like sometimes if you do, especially if you do change what sort of videos you are putting on, I feel like you get sort of punished for it within the views.
Yeah, it's because basically TikTok runs off a niche. So you build up a niche on your TikTok. So if your niche is only about plumbing, if you then try and switch your niche up to be something else, it doesn't like it because your followers don't resonate with that. Imagine like my followers being plumbers, but then I'll like show lifestyle stuff. They won't be interested in it because it's nothing to do with plumbing. They follow me because of plumbing. So it's about like, I don't know, creating that niche and just kind of sticking with it and making the content around that. But being like quite a creative person, I wanted to do many other things, but it just wasn't working. And then obviously tried a bit of TikTok shop, and we won't go into that. But I know Sam's feelings about that. But it's yeah.
It's the only right. This is the thing. I get people that come up to me, and they go, "Wow, you got 60,000 followers. You must be making money off of it." No, I make nothing. I make fuck all. No one gives me money to do shit. So being on social media, it's literally made fuck all difference to my finances. Maybe I'm just bad at monetizing myself. But when I did TikTok shop, I mean, I still kind of do, but it was more to help out a friend of mine that, you know, set up a plumbing tools company on TikTok. So it was really just like getting that off the ground and helping him out and promoting him. But I never actually took any commission from from that stuff. So it was the bare minimum that we could possibly do. I didn't want to make money off of it.
Yeah, I looked into some of his stuff, and I think like the commission is like so low that it wasn't even worth like advertising. I think you get like 10p per item sold or something. It's like,
see, I was doing it because he is a good friend of mine, so that's why I was doing that. But he's got the ball rolling. He doesn't need me to do that anymore, so I don't do that because I don't need to.
I had a bit of a lucky strike with one thing that I made a video on, which was a shower head, and it got over 2 million views. And it managed to sell 1,000 units, which like brought me in like 3k in one video.
Really?
And yeah, and like when you get that kind of thing from like literally 30 seconds of video, I was like, why not? Why not try this? You know, maybe it's something I want to try, you know, but you kind of realize that quite a lot of the stuff that you might have sold before or you sell because these Chinese people push them on you is not like the best of quality. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to start phasing out of doing that at all now. Just because I just don't think it's the best. But like you have to start with selling crap in a way to get to the good stuff. So I've started getting sent like, got sent 2 phones. I've just been sent this lighting kit, which is like 100 quid. And some other things, it's like you get sent better stuff, but you've got to like start somewhere with it.
The only thing with being sent the stuff is you're committed that you have to make a video, otherwise it looks bad in the future. So yeah. I'm sort of like, I don't want any free samples because I'm then committed to it, and it's like a lot of that stuff as well that they offer you. It's very sort of wish.com, if you know what that is. You know what I mean? It's a bit Chinese sort of stuff, but yeah.
It's all cheap stuff, yeah, quite a lot of it. And yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like if you start doing TikTok Shop, it will damage your brand, it will damage your channel, and also the new followers that come in through TikTok Shop won't be interested in plumbing. So what it does is then damage your videos as well. So now if I post up a plumbing video, for instance, I'm not going to get many viewers because a lot of them are from like TikTok Shop. So it's totally messed up my profile completely.
I think obviously it would be a good thing to stick to stuff that is on brand. So a bit like what Don't Touch the Cat saying there. It's stuff that you'd use anyway. If you can sort of just use it and maybe put the shop link in your video, then I think that's the way to do it.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. The only problem is that there isn't many things in our niche in the TikTok Shop at the moment, and the things that are in our TikTok Shop at the moment aren't worth selling because the commission is like so low that you might as well not even like try and sell it. Yeah. So whereas like if I sell a plumbing tool, for instance, you get like 10p per product or something like that, which is nothing. The other one would be like you get 30% commission on the item that you sold. So it's like it's completely different.
I think definitely. I think the problem is obviously with the more expensive tools that their profit margin is obviously not quite as much anyway. So they're trying to compete in other areas, so they can't really offer too much commission because they're not getting it for cheap themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a difficult one.
One of the things that I see all over my For You page, I have for months and months and months, is that stupid fucking tape measure. You know what I mean?
I've got one as well in my van. That tape measure is actually all right. Like everyone asks me, where'd you get this tape measure, man?
So I have actually been working on something, and
you've got your own tape measure.
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm coming out with is a heavy duty tape measure, which we're gonna do through TikTok Shop and offer it to only obviously other content creators that are plumbers and tradesmen set through, and actually give them decent commission. So it's something decent. It's made in the UK, and it's going to be at quite a decent commission. So because the thing is, right, there's no incentive to make videos. There's no incentive because the AdSense isn't there. This is not YouTube. We don't make any money from the actual views and the likes and that. It's not YouTube. And so we make a pittance. I made £200 over the course of a whole year through AdSense, which is pathetic. I mean, that's millions and millions of views. So by the sounds of things, TikTok are going to start doing AdSense, but it'll be for longer videos because you can't pay someone a decent amount of money on a video that's got 2 million views, but it's only 10 seconds long. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't get away with that. So they're only going to they're now incentivizing making longer content. So you'll see that the people doing better are going to be the people that are uploading 4+ minute videos.
Yeah, they want to like change the engagement, and they want to turn TikTok into like a search engine such as YouTube, where if you for plumbing stuff, you've got like a whole tutorial on something, and that's what they want to build. So they're trying to get rid of the more like 2-second viral videos and make it push towards. It
started out as Vine, and they want to end up at YouTube, and we're somewhere like in the middle of Vine and YouTube now.
It's a good position to be in, to be honest.
TikTok Shop is changing as well,
especially our niche.
I think as a platform, it's still growing. We're still way outdoing Instagram on numbers, engagement. It's far higher, and eventually companies are going to start seeing that as well. Because at the minute, companies are ignoring TikTok. You're only just recently in the last few months starting to see. Even brands like Stuart Turner Pumps and stuff, they've only come on in the last 6 months because they're waiting to see how it does. Instagram's there, it's been there for years, but it's dying off and we're growing. Yeah. So I think we're going to see more of a change as time goes on and this gets somewhat bigger.
It's definitely
TikTok's evolving. That TikTok Shop is going to be it's going to be more regulated. It's going to be more quality items, and TikTok are going to be selling the items themselves from what I hear. They're going to be sort of like phasing out these random Chinese shops and like taking over themselves really to sell, to go through each product to see that it's decent to get on their platform to sell. So, and then you're going to have big brands come in. So I think like you'll find, companies such as like B&Q and all the drill companies and shit like that will come on at some point. It's just very early in the game right now towards that kind of thing.
The people that are going to be successful are the people like Plumbers Tools that are, obviously when he sells it himself, brilliant. Obviously he's an independent, He's not a big company like Screwfix or whatever, but he's getting on there early, putting on good, actual quality branded stuff that we like. Baco, Nipex, you know, the stuff that's actually well known. I'd buy that stuff because I do anyway. But and there aren't many other people that are actually putting decent stuff on. There's no one putting on power tools at the minute.
Definitely. I mean, I've just got it's been one of the, because obviously at the moment I'm basically meeting with quite a few bigger companies basically to get some discounts for Thetradesman members. And one of like the big selling points I've gone to, so I've gone to like City, James Hargreaves, Plum Centre, and basically what I've said is you're non-existent on TikTok, and I've been like, I'm showing them sort of examples of sort of what videos can do and stuff, and I'm saying like, you know, I can bring that to you, obviously free of charge, providing that you provide me some discounts basically just for my members, and they're very interested anyway. I've got 2 big meetings coming in the next couple of weeks. So
this is the thing. So obviously, I don't really because obviously this is more behind the scenes sort of stuff. Is that I am a member of On the Tools I'm partnered with On the Tools. So in a way, they kind of work as an agent for you. So one of the companies that wanted, they just said we want a group of plumbers to come down was City Plumbing. We want to get a load of content creators to make videos and come down to Farnborough to our brand new renewable energy centre. So I was one of the people that was going to go down. They was going to pay decent money to make a video. Blah blah blah. They dropped me because I only did TikTok.
Really?
Yeah. They dropped me because I did TikTok. They got the guys that I wouldn't say. I mean, it's easy enough to find out, but the guys that actually went down there and got paid really good money had less than 10,000 followers on Instagram. But because they were on Instagram, they wanted them. But me with my 60,000 followers on TikTok, we don't want TikTok.
That's weird.
That's this, and
that's strange. That I don't understand that at all.
That's why you don't see guys on TikTok get anything. We don't get any sponsors, nothing, because TikTok's still seen as a kids app.
Yeah. I think it will change. It will change.
It's not a kids app.
I'm probably going to get dropped in a lot of trouble for that, but there you go. It's the truth.
It's not a kids app anymore, though. It's like it's an app that you go for absolutely everything, you know, and you can find information on here that you can't find on anywhere else, you know. As long as you're looking at the right stuff and not just looking at twerking constantly.
I think it's becoming the sort of an online college, to be honest.
I think the algorithm is working. It is fantastic because at the end of the day, what I want to see is what is on my For You page. As soon as I'm into something, it knows, and it will keep giving you more and more and more, and it's a perfect algorithm for that.
Even times, it's not even, you know, I feel like sometimes in the morning I'll get different videos to say at dinner time or evening, and I'm like, it literally knows what I want to see at that point.
The only thing that I don't like is, now if I follow someone, that means that I want to see them, right? But even if you follow someone, it's not like YouTube where you go and you're subscribed and then you see, you know, I like John Tron. Oh, John Tron's uploaded a new video. Blah, blah, blah. I'll watch that. I've been waiting for him to upload a video. Whilst with TikTok, you don't get that. So you can follow someone, and I've got my followers, but they don't get to see me unless I make something that hits the algorithm.
Yeah.
So out there, 60,000 people, I'll get a video that's only got a couple of hundred views.
Yeah.
Well, it shouldn't work like that. It should be you should get a notification. So and so's uploaded a video. Oh, I love seeing.
Yeah.
I think some sort of like a flag or something as well. So I think because obviously the following people have just gone around and followed loads of people now. So I think the only way that they'd be able to do that is to create another maybe button where you could say, show me all this guy's content when it comes out, or like
maybe have a select like these are the 10 accounts that I want to get notifications.
Yeah.
And that should be it. Because even when you go on your following page, it's terrible. It's really broken. Yeah. And no one clicks on that. No one goes on that following page. No one goes on their friends page. I only ever go on my For You page, you know. So that I would like to see that change a bit more.
Yeah, it should be impossible really to like only get a few hundred views. Like at 20k followers, to get like quite a lot of videos that don't even go above 1,000, you're like, well, what's happening to like that 20k followers that you've got? Why aren't they watching it? And it is because like a small percentage of them get notified or gets to see it, and then the rest goes to For You. And if For You doesn't kind of connect with your content, then you know it doesn't go anywhere.
Very tough one to understand. We may, I promised Tools we'd wrap it up at half past 8 anyway, because he's got his discounts live on, so unless you guys want to carry on a bit, but if anyone wants to, I mean, I'd like to do it again. I think it's been good.
Yeah, I like chatting about this type of stuff because no one, you know what I mean? I don't know if you get this, but like in your general life, like you talk to your missus about it, and they just like, what? It goes in one ear and out the other. It's like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's nice. It's nice to speak to people who do understand, because it helps you. It helps your understanding a bit more as well. So getting another side to it, 100%, and you can learn from other people who are doing the same thing as you, from their experiences. And so I do think it is really useful.
Absolutely. Does anyone have any questions?
I know the Q&A.
Any last questions for TikTok tradesmen?
Might have to call it Plumbers Chat next time.
I think it is, to be fair. I call it the Plums Chat. I don't think we changed it.
Oh, right, I'm going to have to shoot because I need to get my son some milk because we've run out as well. So to the shop I go.
Right,
but it's been really good to speak to you.
Yeah, see you later, mate. You got 12 coins. What does that mean?
What's that?
I don't know. On the live, it shows you got 12 coins. I've only got 4.
I don't know. What is a coin?
I don't know what that is. Is it a coin? Points. Oh, you get scored points.
What would be the first thing to think about when starting a business? We'll do this last question.
What would be the first thing to think about when starting a business? Do you actually want to do it? Like, do you actually like what you're going to be doing?
I would prioritise things and understand what is actually low down on your priorities, because there's a few people that rush out and get their van sign writ. That's not a priority. There's people that, you know, that like there's a few things like that that aren't as important. The most important things is if you're not good at accounts, then get yourself a good accountant. Make sure that you've got everything you need tool-wise before you actually go off into the world and want to do it yourself. You don't want to be having expenses when you're trying to start out as less as possible.
Money in. And like, you don't need to start a business before you made a grand. So go out and do a few jobs before you make a business, I would say, because then you'll actually realise whether you want to do it or not.
Yeah, build that customer.
Actually,
yeah, I'd say build that customer first, definitely, before you start. Like you said, start doing jobs on evenings and weekends before you do sell. Or, I mean, get a taste of it as well, going as a subby to people. First of all, I'd say.
What's the best way to price work? Hourly or by the job?
Job.
If you can do it by the job, it's best, because you know you can get more money for it. So you know, if you're doing a boiler installation, instead of putting it at an hourly rate or a day rate, just make it up. Well, not make it up, but you know, like,
What do you want?
put a bit more on it that you would want to put on. Is what I want to say.
Yeah, so there's certain things where there's a little bit of risk for me, like an immersion, replacing an immersion heater, right? So when you're replacing an immersion, what are the chances that you could accidentally cause a pinhole or something like that? So there's risk money. So even though it could take half an hour to quickly swap it out, I'd still want about 150 quid to do it. So there's certain things that I have, like almost insurance money to make it worth, you know, in case the worst happens. Have different prices, one for plumbing, one for waste, because I've just always done that. I've always put on that little bit extra if it's waste pipes and it's dirtier work. So you don't want to be charging the same hourly rate to fit a set of taps as you do drain rodding. Drain rodding, you should have a fixed price for that. And you know, there's certain things where you've got to charge more or less. So it's pretty much by the job.
Definitely.
Knowing to charge hourly comes with experience as well. You kind of know, oh yeah, I've got to move this radiator. I know it's going to take X amount of hours. This is how much it's going to cost. So you kind of know, because sometimes, you know, you can't just pluck a number out of the sky in a way, because you've got competition, you know. You kind of need to know how long it's going to take. And without doing it, you're not going to know.
Experience with pricing, you got to have. It's taken me a long time to get. Even now, I'm changing my pricing. Even now, there's certain things where I'm changing it, and I'm going, hang on a minute, why am I'm really underselling myself in certain ways?
It's constantly changing, and I think that's just the market in general. So obviously, like you said, with drainage and stuff, you look at what other people are charging. If that goes up, then, you know, I think it's always good to do a bit of market research as well, because quite recently, a friend of mine, he's just set up, and basically he phoned round and he asked loads of plumbers in the local area. He got his girlfriend to say, oh, I need your boiler service in. He found out what everybody charged, and basically found the average and just then charged the average. But it's made me put my service price up, because the average ended up being about £90. So I'm like, well, if that's what the average is, then that's what I need to be charging. Yeah.
See, because you could just ask people in the merchants, but you've always got to take what tradesmen say that they earn with a massive pinch of salt. Everyone likes to make out they're earning a lot more than they really are. 1,000%. And especially people on social media, you've not got a clue what the reality is. You know what I mean? I know so many people that make out that they're always busy when they're not. I've seen your van parked on your drive too many times too early, you know. But yeah, you get a lot of people that are really cocky when they go in the merchants, saying, yeah, I've got this on, I've got that, and I'm charging this. I like to go in the merchants and tell them that I'm having a slow week if I am, because they'll usually help me find more work, because the merchants are a really good way of getting work in. Because they've always got people coming in, buying taps, buying showers. Do you know anyone that can fit it? And if you're the one that's saying, oh, I need a bit of work, it's a bit slow, you're going to get the work over the guy that said, oh, I'm inundated, lads, I'm earning all this money. You're the one that's going to get all the cream. So
definitely. I mean, it's the same again. Building your relationship though with your merchant, I think it says a lot. I mean, my job for the last 2 days has been manager at local merchant's house. So it were, all plumbers that he could have chose from, and he's chose me. But it's not, there's plenty of good plumbers out there. He's chose me because we've built that relationship and that friendship to a point where if there is people who come in and ask for plumbers, I will be the one that he recommends.
One of the things that I've always done every year since I started up in this area is I've always, at Christmas, brought them in a hamper. Cheese, crackers, a couple of bottles of wine. I always look after my merchants.
Little things go a long way, don't they? And if, a few quid can make them treat you better, then why not?
Guys, I'm going to have to go anyway, so it's been great speaking to you.
Bye,
I'll
mate.
see you soon.
Lovely to speak to you. All right, bye-bye.
See you later.
See you, mate. Bye.
I'll have to kick you off.
So, what's your plans moving forward? It's Sam, isn't it?
Yeah. So my plans are they're endless. I've never had a plan. I've got ADHD brain. It's just whatever's in front of me, I'll do. I don't have any intentions of creating a business where I've got to employ people and have any stress. I don't know. You take on people, but then you've got to provide them with work, and you've got to do more advertising. You've got to bring more in. You've got to bring more to the table, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be making more money straight away. Certainly not straight away. So for me, it's just like I'm really comfortable with what I do, and I'm just trying to be a better plumber, better individual plumber. That's all you can do. But yeah, I don't have any big grand plans at the minute. How about yourself?
I guess for generating like a personal brand like you have yourself, it's something that could be a lot more rewarding than scaling a business now. This is like the new generation of being successful, having your own personal brand, everyone knowing who you are and creating your own things around yourself rather than like bringing in people to do jobs for you. You could just do jobs, but do a lot of things on the side as well, along with that.
Yeah, so doing things on the side as far as like the TikTok side of things. First time I've ever actually done anything and it's been beneficial has been literally this week, literally, where I got paid to put out content. Now, before that, I've never found anything, and I've had a lot of pretty good offers, but they never make sense. Like an app for heat loss calculation. Well, I'm not a heating engineer, I'm just a plumber. So how can I sit there and talk about it if I'm clueless about what it does? Mm-hmm. So I've been very, very picky with that side of things, but I'm hoping that there's stuff that makes sense. It's just the content I was making, they come off of the back of that, so it made sense to do it.
Yeah, I guess by being picky, it's going to work in your favour because you're not going to damage your brand by doing something that is nothing to do with what you do. You want to find things that correlate and build up your brand rather than damage it by doing something completely the opposite.
Yeah, 100%. So, I'm talking about vans, my van being broken into. Then I get an offer to do something where I can also give back a discount to my followers for van security. When I'm talking about being self-employed, for which I sort of always avoid that because I don't necessarily find it the most interesting thing is talking about but the business side of things. I like to just talk about what I'm doing day to day. But when I talked about that, then it's and someone said, look, what you've been talking about aligns with this, and it made sense. So I did that one for that insurance company. But before that, it's always been just bollocks before. Stuff that just doesn't make sense. And you immediately lose all credibility as soon as you start going, oh, buy I've got Gatorade or whatever, I don't know, some energy drink or something. It just doesn't make sense, does it?
No, you're totally right there. It doesn't.
Right. Yeah, it's I don't know. I've always seen it as maybe it might benefit me in the long run if I was to hold back.
You feel happy in doing what you're doing.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think someone just said about how do I market myself as a small jobs type plumber. Well, that's what I do. So I don't know. You just got to. It's the same thing. I think you just got to get in with other plumbers, and they give you the work that they don't want to do, which is usually small jobs.
I can answer this one as well. Like, how would you brand yourself as a jobbing smaller plumber without looking too amateurish? Well, actually, by actually just being an amateur and using that and saying, listen, guys, like I'm, an amateur plumber. I'm starting into this. A lot of people would be interested in watching your journey from going from an amateur plumber to learning more. And on the way, they're going to give you more tips. A lot of people on TikTok, especially plumbers, are very brutal as well. So you got to create a thick skin, because no matter how good you are, everyone's going to tell you how they would do it differently.
Yeah, it will always be wrong if whatever you post, there'll always be something. There's always one person, and they're usually wrong. But I think how to brand yourself without, like, even if he means just in his local area, how do I brand myself towards small jobs? In your advertisements, just lead the customer down take their hand and bring them down the path of smaller jobs. So that's what I do. So the way that my advert is constructed in the paper, it's drip in tap, ? Leak under the sink, ? Like small jobs, without directly saying, oh, I just do small jobs.
Because I got this question wrong. I thought it was to do with TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
Shit. I thought it was on about how do you brand yourself on TikTok as a small jobbing plumber. So I've answered that wrong.
So you can just do it like I do if that's the case. You can just have a look at what I do, because I don't do anything too crazy unless it really interests me. If it really interests me, then I'll take on bigger stuff. I mean, I've stopped doing bathrooms this year, but I'm taking on 2 just because they're listening to me. Which when the customer listens to you and you say, look, I think you should go for this, and I think you should go for that. I don't think you should put it over there. I think you should put a vanity unit there, and they're listening and they go, oh, okay, yep. I was willing to take it on. So I've got two bathrooms in the pipeline, but nothing looking forward in the future bathroom wise. I'm hoping to just stick with the smaller jobs, because I do genuinely make more money doing multiple smaller jobs.
Well, that's your niche. Like, you've got to, like I say, people have to find their blue ocean, which means basically an unsaturated place. Now, a lot of plumbers are avoiding the smaller jobs, which means there is an abundance of smaller jobs that need doing. And people think, I don't want to do smaller jobs because I can't earn good money. But it's actually the opposite, because you might charge a day rate for a big job, say, I don't know, 200, 300 pound a day. But if you do 7 small jobs, you'll end up earning like 500 quid in the day. And you're like, fucking hell, just by switching a few bull cocks, repairing a few toilets. It's quite fun to do. I enjoy doing the smaller jobs as well, the smaller repairs. And you do get a lot of satisfaction as well, because these problems have been like knacking the customer for like months. Oh, I've been looking at getting this done. It's been annoying me and I just haven't got round to doing it. And then you come round and just smash it out. And it's quite rewarding.
Everyone always leaves so much happier. Like when they've got a leak coming through the ceiling, you go around and you fix it, they're always happy that you've done it. Now, with a bathroom, there can always be snags. There's always a little bit of snagging somewhere, or someone goes, oh, that's not quite, it's a lot harder to get that real happy customer at the end of the job. Whilst with smaller jobs, you get that every time. I want a new set of taps fitted. I fitted them. Oh, fantastic. Oh, they look brilliant. Yeah. So I think you get that more satisfaction from it.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't like the bathrooms because it's too much of a perfectionist game. Literally pointing out the very smallest of things where, doing a boiler cupboard, you can do it really neat, but at the end of the day, like, they look at it and you've like spent all this time polishing the pipes and making it look awesome, and you're like, wait till I show the customer this, he's going to be buzzing. And you're like, look at this, what I've done for you. And you're like, oh, that's great, I've got heat, and then shut the door. And you're like, oh,
that's it.
Nice one.
All they care about with a boiler is, does it work? Is it a good boiler? Is it got a good warranty? They don't give a shit how much you put into bending pipes and polishing and brasso in the fucker. They don't care. But I do think that with the smaller jobs, like, I don't know, like, the amount of times, like earlier today, I swapped an outside tap, 5-minute job. The old boy was over the moon. That's been really bugging me. That hasn't worked since it froze. He's over the moon. He's well happy.
Exactly.
So yeah, and especially like the quicker you turn up, the more happy they are, because it's, responsive jobs. The quicker you get there, the more happy they are with it.
Yeah, definitely. Being a reliable plumber that comes there on the right time, that's like probably the most important thing, because so many people just fail at that hurdle. So, yeah. being reliable, changing it, and then getting the job done.
Yeah, I think as well, you just got to find you do have to find a decent merchant. You have to try and stick within a certain area so that you're not having to keep loads and loads of van stock, and you can just pop to the merchants to get the bit. You know, or try and keep it within a very small radius of the merchant.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely a good idea as well, because, I mean, when I was running the business in my hometown, I was just working at my hometown. A lot of people travel out, but the problem is, as soon as you start traveling out and you leave a leak or something, you've then got to travel there free of charge. It might be an hour drive there, do a free job, come back, and you've lost like 3-4 hours of your day where you could have been, you know, done in an hour, and, you know, if it was in your hometown. So it's a massive loss of money if you start taking jobs outside of your hometown.
Oh, that was quite hard. It's a little bit nippy to me. Well, the thing is, I've got my little ones in bed at the minute, so I can't go down to the garden. That's why I'm hanging out the window.
At least he's not getting kicked off yet.
Yeah, it's restricted. If you look at the top right, it will say restricted. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's ridiculous. They'll always catch me. They always catch me. Doesn't matter how much I hide it. Yeah. Right, I'm going to get off because I need to upload.
It's been a long chat. It's been good.
Yeah, it's nice to actually finally get a good chat with you and with Adam as well, because I haven't actually properly spoke to him other than a couple of times on the phone. So, yeah.
Definitely, man, definitely. And we'll all catch up again sometime.
And you enjoy the sun. What time's it over there?
It's 10 now.
Okay. Oh, so not that much in front then.
No, it's just an hour ahead. It's not much of a time difference.
Yeah, very nice. Well, you enjoy the sun and the glorious Croatian weather, and we'll pray that it's a nice day tomorrow. Right, I'll see you on, buddy. Ta-ra.
Yeah, catch you in a bit, guys. Take care.